Hi, I'm Kate Amory and I'm a data governance domain expert for Informatica. Today we're going to talk about the top 5 use cases we see for data governance all the time. Now there are many different use cases, but broadly we see them fall into these 5 categories. Companies desiring to trust their data, reduce their effort, simplify their landscape, comply with regulatory requirements, and leverage change for better purposes. So let's dive in. Companies need to be able to trust their data in order to depend upon it. If somebody has a report, they need to be able to see where the data in that report came from. They need to understand how it's got there, where it's moved along the way, and also what's happened to it. This is why business context is so important. How has the data been used? Which processes have impacted it or you leveraged it before it got into your report? And has that changed the data in any way? Finally, they need to know about the quality of the data in the report. Has that depreciated as it moves through the lineage, or has it in fact been picked up and have some data quality rules been applied to make sure it can be trusted? Companies also need to reduce their effort. How can they be sure that they're not doing work that has already been done? In large organizations, this is a very common issue. Duplication of effort is rife. You need a centralized place where everybody can see what has already been done, and also where that interconnects with one another's work. So it's not just about saying the GDPR support project has done some stuff, it's about how that has impacted the rest of the world. If they created a certain data set, could that be leveraged for other purposes? What are the interdependencies between systems, people, processes, and projects? Another common question is how you could actually find data sets that have already been created rather than always starting from scratch. More and more business users want to be able to shop for data. They want to be able to find the data sets that are out there, maybe have them changed a little bit, maybe sometimes have new ones created, and then request access. This is something we need to be able to support in order to support these modern businesses. Rather than wasting time looking for the data, let them use their time valuably in using the data. They also need to be able to simplify their landscapes wherever possible. Organizations have to have a grip on their system architecture or it can spiral out of control. You need to first just understand what you have. What systems do we have? Where are they moving data from and to? How do they interconnect? Sometimes some of them are looking to be replaced. There are some decommissionings that are planned. What is going to be the impact of that? Can I afford to simplify? Will it be something that can be done and assessed technically? Do I know what impact it's going to have on the downstream systems? And also from a process perspective, who is going to actually reach the data that has been passed on through this system? Who will bridge that gap? Can the processes go and source the data somewhere else? Have we organized all of that before any decommissioning, before any simplification projects? Meeting regulatory requirements is, of course, another common use case. Everybody needs to comply with whatever regulations affect their industry and organization. While they will have existing policies, these may not make them compliant with any new regulations, or they may only meet half of the requirements. For instance, with personal data, companies would have tended to have personal data policies already, but they need to increase the stringency of these in order to comply with things like GDPR and CCPA. In order to see what gaps they need to fill, they can look at the detail of that regulation and then translate it into policy. They need to think about specifics of the requirement. For instance, for GDPR, you need to name your data processor and data controller for all of your processes managing personal data. Finally, they need to ensure that that view is up to date as possible. This isn't something that's going to happen in a vacuum. Lots of people feed into the different elements of, for instance, processing personal data. There's different systems involved, different policies, different key data elements being impacted, and it's a whole community needs to come together to keep a view dynamic and up to date. Finally, they want to leverage change. When change is happening, it's a great opportunity for organizations to build on. They can find the right people, get the right stakeholders engaged. They need to think about how their work is also going to impact others. How are they actually building on one another's work? How are they going to depend on one another's work? And how might they need to warn people in advance before they make any changes? They need to be able to come together to make well-informed decisions with as much information as possible at their fingertips. Only when you have true business context along with your understanding of your data landscape can you actually make an informed, quick decision. Thank you very much.